let's begin here with our mocks. That's what we're here for. All right, so there's the first rule, Pete, is stay on your side, okay? You have to stay on your side. That's Pete's side. This is my side.
My side.
But it doesn't really matter for the first 4 picks because...
I think my first 4 are better.
But they're the same. They're the same exact first 4. Don't put your chair on my side. You see that blue? Stay on your side there. All right, so we can go pick by pick here.
Would you look at that?
So we're going to go 4 at a time here. So for pick 1, I went with Kyler Murray, the quarterback from Oklahoma, because I think it happens. It's a predict a pick. And that's what I think happens. You know, it makes sense. I've went over this plenty of times. People probably want to hear. People are probably tired of hearing my voice about this, but so maybe we can get Pete's point of view here. But I just think it happens. He fits Kingsbury's offense. He's got one shot at an NFL coaching job. That's why I think he does it. Does Rosen get traded? That's good. You would think he has. They have to trade him. I think they're gonna they're kind of getting lowballed right now. I think they're gonna wait and see. Wait until it kind of raises up. They're not just going to give him away, and that's smart. Go ahead, Pete. Why do you have Kyler Murray 1?
Yeah, I'm just buying into...
And we're just doing one round for this.
Buying into what everyone else is saying. Yeah, I kind of agree with what you already said. And, like, it was kind of funny. I think it was at the Combine. They asked the Cardinals GM, like, about Rosen. He's like, yeah, he's our quarterback right now. He had to, like, add right now in there just because, like, you know something's going to happen. Like, they're trying to find, again, I think they're getting lowballed. They're going to try and find the right partner for them. But, yeah, I think they wait till, like, maybe the draft to trade Rosen. Maybe the price will go up as some teams still need quarterbacks. I think they'll take Rosen over some of the guys in the draft. But we'll see. But, yeah, I think he just fits the offense a lot better than Rosen, what Kingsbury wants. So.
I know Raphael down there, I always see him in the comments section. He's a big Cardinals fan, I assume, and he doesn't agree with the Kyler Murray pick. And, again, I did I think you saw it, too. I saw you in the comments on that one, my GM mock, where I did what I would do, and I went Quinnen Williams. So, I can't really go in depth on why I would do this because I wouldn't, but I understand it because – I keep going back to the Kingsbury thing. You know, it's his one shot, and what's the most important position? It's quarterback. It's the game changer. Kyler Murray is a game changer. Rosen can be good. I'm a believer in Rosen, but is he going to go lead them in the playoffs this year? The Cardinals really aren't built for the playoffs unless they have a wild card, a guy that's a game changer, a guy that's hard to game plan against. That's Kyler Murray. So I understand it, and it's. The only thing that it's kind of hard to believe on this is really Kingsbury. They just hired Kingsbury, and he's taken over. Like, the GM's letting him take over. That's why it's so hard to believe. So, I guess, yes.
It's funny. What was that? Was that this week that Kyler had a second visit with the Cardinals, and he brought his agent with? It was kind of funny. It was like, what are they, negotiating contracts already or something? It's just don't know why the agent's there, but it's just kind of funny to think about.
Yeah.
We gonna move on here?
Yeah, 2, I got Nick Bosa, defensive end, Ohio State. I'm kind of firm on this one, but Kyler Murray has to go 1, really, because Nick Bosa could go 1. But if Nick Bosa's here at 2, that's the pick. I talked about how they're supposed to run that Leo defense, D Ford stepping off the ball. On the opposite side, they need a true 4-3 defensive end. Nick Bosa is a true 4-3 defensive end. Good twitch, good first burst off the ball, great hand usage. Very strong, and for his size, he's pretty athletic. You know, he's not as athletic as some of the other pass rushers. Maybe we'll talk about it in a little bit, but pretty darn athletic for his size. He's a safe pick. Like, he's gonna be. Well, I guess you can argue that because he was hurt, played 3 games. But
someone asked, "What's Leo?"
Leo is the Chargers are known for it. Gus Bradley, really. Dan Quinn kind of ran with the Seahawks too, and he kind of still does it. Vic Beasley has off the ball, but it's basically it's like a linebacker and an end. It's a mixture of a 4-3 and a 3-4. So if you know 3-4, there's 2 outside linebackers that are off the ball, rushing the quarterback, and a 4-3, there's 2 defensive ends on the line, on the ball, rushing the passer. So then with the Leo, you have the example would be the Chargers. They do a great job with it. Joey Bosa, not Nick Bosa. That's why it's interesting. Joey Bosa is the 4-3 defense on one side. Melvin Ingram, if you ever watch Melvin Ingram and the Chargers, he's the Leo. He's the Leo position. He is what makes it unique. He's off the ball in a traditional 4-3. He pretty much does what he wants. He goes off the ball, he's on the ball, he slides inside. That's why Melvin Ingram is a very, very valuable player. So it's an interesting defense, but it's really not that much different than.
So you're saying Nick Bosa is going to be the Leo?
Nick Bosa is going to be the Joey Bosa.
Okay.
D Ford's going to be the Melvin. D Ford's going to be the Leo, the Melvin Ingram.
Yeah.
Which I would run that defense because then you don't have to worry about. Well, we like Nick Bosa, but we run a 3-4, so we can't take him. That's kind of weird. So. That's not the case for the Niners. And I hope the Niners would slide Solomon Thomas inside. But you go ahead on your Nick Bosa.
You kind of covered
I hit it there?
Yeah, I think, I was trying to make the point there that Nick Bosa is kind of like the Niners' Joey Bosa, and then D Ford will be the Melvin Ingram, kind of like Riz was already saying there. I think they just take the best player in the draft. According to most people, it's not my best player in the draft.
We had Niners' best player in the draft.
The Niners' best player in the draft probably
at this point. We're predicting.
Sounds like Nick Bosa, so that's why we're going Nick Bosa at 2.
All right, and I guess a little boring right off the bat because we all got this. We got the same, but it'll be interesting. I've seen most of these already. We have differences, but then we actually have similarities in spots where you don't expect two people to have the same. So it's kind of interesting. But Josh Allen picked 3. It's between Allen and Quinnen Williams. My number 1 player in the draft is Quinnen Williams. My number 2 player in the draft is Josh Allen. Very, very tight with Nick Bosa at 3. So interesting decision for the Jets. I think Josh Allen just also fits their need, I guess, in the biggest way. They try to get Anthony Barr. Josh Allen is a version of Anthony Barr that is a little better at pass rushing even. So that makes a lot of sense, but I feel pretty confident that the Jets could trade down and they could target another pass rusher, another interior D-line. But in my head right now is I think they would target an offensive lineman. I think would be the wild card, actually. So we'll see. We'll see when I get to my final mock with trades and my trade scenario. But as this one, if they do sit, which is realistic because how could you pass on a guy like Josh Allen or Quinnen Williams here? So I have them going Josh Allen for those reasons.
Yep. Greg Williams coming in there, switching the defense up. They need that 3-4 edge rusher, and that's what
he's keeping it 3-4, so he needs the 3-4. That's what you meant, yeah.
Yeah. So they need Josh Allen as that edge rusher there. So I think Quinnen Williams is my number 1 player in the draft as well. But I think just based off what the Jets kind of need, I think their interior defensive line's okay, but they desperately need an edge rusher, and there's a certain amount of guys at the top of the draft that are like, there's basically a couple elite pass rushers, edge rushers, and then it kind of drops off. So I think you're going to see like a run of those kind of go early. You already see Bosa go, you already see Allen go, and then you'll see probably some other ones in the top 10 or top 15 that go too, and then it's going to kind of be a drought for a little bit, the end of the first and then early second.
We didn't do any trades in this mock because this is kind of comparing mocks with the same team. If I would have had the Jets trading and Pete did not, it'd be a mess because we wouldn't be able to compare then. So I guess we could compare if we think they're going to trade or not. I think they can trade, but at the same time, can they pass up a guy like Josh Allen, Quinnen Williams? So I will do the final mock with trades. And
someone asked for those guitar picks in the background. I'm pretty sure they are.
It's Nashville.
Nashville. They got country music.
I didn't actually think of that.
Yeah.
I was wondering why they were shaped like that. Makes sense. So Quinnen Williams at 4. We both got it. We both have him number 1 player in the draft. The Raiders need a pass rusher more than an interior D-line, so maybe they would take Josh Allen over Quinnen Williams, but Josh Allen gone. You can't pass on Quinnen Williams. You can't pass on the best player. Maybe he can't be worse than the second best player on Mayock's board. So you can't pass on that for like the 5th or 6th best player. Too dominant. I always talk about it. Interior pressure is a game changer. It can win you games. It can win you a championship. There's not too much of it going on. And if he can stop the run at the same time at high level, which he does, it's a bonus. So really, actually, I see it the other way around. He stops the run at the high level and he gets after the quarterback. That's a big time bonus. So that's why he's the best player in the draft, and that's why he's the pick here.
Yeah, I think Mayock has been doing this for a long, not like GMing, but been studying the draft and like knows kind of like what happens throughout the draft. And I think when he gets here and like the best player in the draft, our best player in the draft, is still there. I think he just has to pull the trigger, even if it's not their biggest need. I think he's going for best available for sure.
Okay, now we're getting interesting here. Moving on to the next 4 picks. Some surprises here, except for the first one. We both got Devin White. So there you have it. Our next 4 picks, 5 through 8, Bucks through Lions. Pick 5, Devin White, linebacker, LSU is what I got. It really what it comes down to is how do the Bucks value the linebacker position? Some teams don't value it that high anymore, but Devin White, and the reason for that is because they're pretty much just sitting in the middle of the field. They have to be crazy at run stopping, and they have to be able to cover. Well, Devin White can do that, and the reason I've kind of moved him in the top 5 is because I just keep hearing like what an incredible human being he is, what an incredible person he is, how he dominated the meeting part of the offseason of the draft process. Every team loves him. I keep hearing that. And then there's GMs that just fall in love with people's characters, and that's really enough for them, as long as they're obviously a good player, which Devin White is more than a good player. So, and they lost Quan Alexander too. I mean, I think the difference here is that he can get after the quarterback, and he can help in the pass game. So that's really what separates him, which Devin Bush can do somewhat similar things too. But that's what separates those two, I should say, from the rest of the linebackers, and why the Bucks would take them. But they could trade back. They can go Jawaan Taylor, Jonah Williams. They can go Montez Sweat. They can go Ed Oliver. The Bucks is a tough one to predict, but we somehow have the same ones here.
Yeah, I think it's just filling a big need, and he's probably one of the best players in the draft as well. So they lost Quan Alexander. He's got to take that spot. Definitely could see a trade back scenario though. The Bucks are. We were talking about this a little bit. The Bucks have like one of the least amount of cap space out of the teams in the NFL, and like a top 5 pick gets paid pretty well. So like they could trade back and get some other picks, like players that aren't going to get paid as much, or get some future picks too. So we don't have to like really like stretch their salary cap at all. But yeah, I think Devin White's the pick if they're going to stick there.
All right, so we went a little different here. Kind of a last-second thing for me. I had the Giants going Dwayne Haskins again, the quarterback from Ohio State. It was kind of what's it been in. It was in my mocks. It was in a lot of people's mocks, a while ago, or not too long ago, but anything, not recent. And the reason I went back to it is there's a couple things. All of a sudden, maybe yesterday it started that Haskins is dropping. People are kind of just putting it out there. Who's putting it out there? That's the question. You don't believe any of that stuff now. He's not dropping. And the reason it could be is because the Giants are taking him. And every year there's also that one pick. There's also multiple picks. But there's that one pick where, wow, that was the pick all along, and we got fooled and went away from it. And I think that's Dwayne Haskins. I think they were high in him. They made it pretty obvious early in this process, and some smoke got out there. And I'm starting to believe that could actually be the pick. And they could afford to do it because they have the 2 first-round picks. And Gettleman, he's a Cam Newton fan, obviously. He was with him in the Panthers. And I think he can see Cam Newton much more mobile than Haskins, but in terms of throwing and throwing motion, I think you can see somewhat similarities between Haskins and Newton. And not that I'm really comparing them, but there's some similarities there in the style. But I think that could be enough. And I just think we're going to be sitting there on draft night like, wow, it was Haskins all along. It's just kind of a bold take of mine. I guess not too bold because it's realistic, but that's what I had. And something different, finally.
I had Montez Sweat going 6th. The Giants traded Olivier Vernon. I don't think he fit their defense that well anyways, so I think they get a player that fits their style on defense a little bit better. You could see them go Rashan Gary. I don't know, like some teams are probably high on him. Some teams are probably not as high on him. I don't know. I'm not with the Giants. I don't know like what their board's looking like, but it could be one of those two. I think like their interior defensive line, they drafted some guys last year that are kind of taking care of that. So I think they're fine there. I think they're looking for like that edge rusher, especially like like I said, there's some elite edge rushers and then it kind of drops off. So I think they're kind of looking for one earlier before their 17th pick where they might be all gone. So
and then Dab over there brought up something good. Is Montez Sweat a defensive end or outside linebacker? I think he can play both. I list him as defensive end. I think he's a little better as a defensive end, but he definitely can play both because of his athleticism. The Giants are known for running a 3-4, so he would step up back and play outside linebacker. I don't have a problem with it. I kind of just put where I listed the guys on there in my rankings. So you definitely can play outside linebacker, though, for them. So a little bit different there at 6, but then we're back to the same somehow at pick 7. We both have Jawaan Taylor to the Jags. I think he might be too good to pass, even though he's a lineman. He might be too good to pass at this point. I have him higher than 7 on my board. Instant plug-and-play right tackle. There's a shortage on right tackles in the NFL, and they're important because more elite pass rush is starting to come off that side of the ball. We saw Jawaan Taylor versus Josh Allen did a hell of a job when Florida played Kentucky. The Jags they're looking for a right guy, a right tackle guy. I thought about Jonah Williams here, who I have going next. We'll get to that in a little bit, but Jawaan Taylor makes a little more sense. They're looking for that right side, which Jonah Williams can do, but it's a little safer with the plug and play right tackle here. So that's why I went that route.
Yeah, I agree with that. He's a local guy too. He played for Florida, so keep him home. Like you've seen, you see some teams do that. It's not like really a big deal, but you saw the Jags did it with Blake Bortles back when they took him, local guys. So I think that's kind of what they need. They need to protect Nick Foles because they had a lot. Jaguars they picked up some guys for the offensive line in the past free agency, but a lot of them were banged up last year. They had a lot of offensive linemen hurt, so I think that's where they kind of need a lot of help. Could see them take T.J. Hawkinson actually.
I could see
at
that
spot too. Give Nick Foles a target like a Zach Ertz target. I'm not saying Hawkinson's Zach Ertz, but
he could be.
He's very special. That's why I have him going next. We'll get to that, but I think Jags could definitely go that route as well. But I just feel like offensive line is going to be their priority.
With pick 8, I have the Lions going Jonah Williams, the offensive lineman from Alabama. The reason why Jawaan Taylor says offensive tackle next to him and Jonah Williams says offensive lineman, because I think Jonah Williams can play he can play tackle, he can play guard, and I even heard some NFL teams would like him at center if they drafted him. So really can play anywhere on the line, most likely the left side of the line. I think most likely in this case he'd be left guard, could potentially move to right guard for the Lions. So the Lions need one more piece to that offensive line group, which was beat up and struggled last year. And the most important thing is to keep Stafford healthy here. You can't have him banged up. They needed pass rusher at one point. They could still go that, but they got Trey Flowers. There's not really a bunch of needs for the Lions. They definitely can use a corner, but this is way too early for corner. They could definitely use a tight end, but they have some tight ends that can play. But just make sure you keep Stafford safe here. And I think Jonah Williams is another guy. I kind of said this a week or two ago. That kind of like the Dwayne Haskins thing I said, like once we get to the draft, like, all along Jonah Williams was going to go top 10 like we used to have in mock drafts. Now we don't have it anymore. So I think he's right there. He can get a little bit outside the top 10, I think it's realistic. But, I think I got 2 linemen going in a row there. I think the Lions can go Jonah Williams. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I'm going Hawkinson with the 8th pick to the Lions. I think he's a special talent in the draft. Like, you don't really find tight ends like this. He could block really well. He's a great receiver as well. And I know the Lions made a mistake picking. It wasn't really a mistake because he showed out last year. Eric Ebron in the top 10. But I think Hawkins is definitely a safer pick than Ebron was. And just getting Matthew Stafford back on track too. Like, he didn't have the greatest year last year, but just giving him as much weapons. Like, everyone wants a tight end that's a security blanket, just over the middle of the field, easy throw. And he'll block too. He'll help their run game as well. So I think he's just the perfect pick for the Lions, especially like you said, they don't have like the most needs. Like, they're definitely teams getting a lot better. They got a lot better in free agency. So I think they could take like the smart pick here, the safe pick here with Hawkinson.
Yeah. Somebody mentioned the Lions could trade back. Yeah, I think so too. If they're set on trying to get a corner right away, they could trade. They definitely have room to trade back because a corner I shouldn't go anytime soon from here, but you never know. For T.J. Hawkinson, I'm very high on T.J. Hawkinson. I'm kind of starting to think because of the other talent, like the more important positions up here in the defensive talent, and the quarterbacks get overdrafted, that Hawkinson could drop. I think he can go 7. I think it's probably the earliest he can go is 7. But I also think it's realistic he can drop, which we'll see here for me, because not only what I just explained, all the other guys can go push him back. I think the tight end class is pretty good. Like teams can be like, well, we can get a pretty good tight end that can also block, on day 3, even early day 3. So I think that could push him back, but it is realistic that he can go 7 or 8, which you had him going. So, yeah, I did have that pick at once there. We're going to move on to the next 4. There we go. Now, I had Montez Sweat going. Pete already had him going. I like Montez Sweat, a little higher than 9 on my board because he's a freak athlete and he already has production, already knows how to play, and not just get after the quarterback. He could stop the run. I do like the Danielle Hunter comparison. I'm not a huge fan of a lot of comparisons. I think everyone's really their own guy, but I do like that comparison. Sweat maybe needs a little more width to him, I guess, but for Hunter, but I think they're pretty similar in style of play and athleticism. So the Bills. I was actually torn on this one, and the other guy I was deciding between was the guy you had him going with. So really 2 good options here. I think what's more important is what it comes down to for the Bills, and they were looking at other pass rushers. I think they were interested in Ziggy Ansah, possibly, which they could still be, but so I think it's showing that they're a little more interested in a pass rusher out here, and they drafted Harrison Phillips last year. Doesn't mean they shouldn't go defensive lineman because you could definitely get better. You can't be afraid to get better. But Sweat with Jerry Hughes would be pretty dominant. I think he fits in at defensive end on their defense.
Yeah, I want Ed Oliver here. The Bills are kind of known for taking best player available, even if it's defense. Like they have a pretty good defense, and you could see like last year they took Edmonds, and like he wasn't supposed to. Didn't really think he was supposed to be there. Like he should have probably went earlier in the draft. They just took best player available. And it kind of works out for them. Like they have a really good defense. I think they continue to do it. They picked up a lot of offensive players in free agency, even though free agency is not like the best way to build a team, but they did pick up a lot of offensive weapons through free agency. So I think they just take best player available. And I think it's Ed Oliver, and I think he fits well with that defense. He'll play defensive tackle with Star Latulippe in there as well. So
yeah,
I think it works out.
Next pick 10, the Broncos. We both have Drew Lock, and they got their quarterback in Flacco, but we still both went with Drew Lock. Yeah, I just think he doesn't get by this points. Most likely we'll see a trade up for pretty much every quarterback besides Murray if he goes 1. But yeah, Lock is Elway's type of quarterback. The deep balls, the specialty, and Flacco's not going to last forever too. And they did a pretty good job in free agency, filling some, nothing wow about free agency besides maybe a couple guys or 1 or 2 guys here, but my point is they pretty much filled their giant needs, so they could afford to do this really, and their defense already should have been set even for last year. Already should have been set where they didn't really need much. They had the talent, they just, I guess, couldn't get it done. Maybe it has to do with the offense not scoring, but now with Vic Fangio in there and then Bradley Chubb in the second year, I think the defense will be fine. You could afford to do this, and it just makes sense. He's their type of guy. So, yeah, that's why I went with him.
Yeah, I think that's I don't know, you never know what's gonna happen with the quarterbacks. Probably gonna get trades up in the top 10, and like these two, I have the number 2 and number 3 quarterback going back to back outside, or one's in the top 10, one's outside the top 10. But I just got a feeling it's gonna probably happen. Teams will probably trade up. Might be these 2 teams trade up and take them. But I just think out of the 2 quarterbacks there, I think John Elway would definitely. I think he's preferring Drew Lock over Haskins, guy who has one of the best arms in the draft, and he already sees enough. I was kind of saying this. He already sees enough Patrick Mahomes, and like people are kind of giving little comparisons of Drew Lock to Patrick Mahomes. I think he kind of wants his own guy like that could throw the ball around, especially with some of the young receivers they have. So that's kind of why we went with Lock here.
Yeah, pick 11 could go. There's a multiple different players you can go with here. I went with Devin Bush because it's the Bengals' biggest need, but he's also worthy of the pick, the linebacker out of Michigan. Not far off from Devin White. He can cover. He can fly to the ball. Pretty much the same style or same, motor. How he flies, instinctive too, how he flies the ball in the backfield. Just a little bit undersized maybe, but I think we might be past that. I know some scouts and GMs probably still think like that. But I think we're getting past those days where even if a guy can play out of his mind, but he's too small, I'm not taking him. Yeah, I think we're past those days. So Devin Bush, and he's not like he's ridiculously small or anything. So I like Devin Bush a lot. I think he's worthy of this pick, and it's a huge need there for Cincinnati. I think they drafted pretty well on defense last year. The offense was very good in the beginning of the year. Hopefully they can stay consistent, but they could go quarterback here. They could go Maybe tight end will be a wild card. They have quite a few of them, though, but they could get better. Offensive line. If somehow Jonah Williams is here, I think they go that route. But I got Devin Bush for now.
Yeah, I think if Haskins is here, like I said, I think teams trade up to get the quarterbacks. But if he's here, I think the Bengals will just take a chance. And they got a new coach, so I think they're going to want to switch it up. And I think they've seen enough of Andy Dalton to know like what he is. So I think they'll bring in Haskins, and he's a good prospect. He's a good quarterback, so I think he would. I mean, it's another one where he's local too, and coming from Ohio State, it's pretty close for him. So
yeah,
just like the pick, kind of I like the player where it's at there.
So pick 12, I still had Ed Oliver on the board, and it's just this has to be the latest he goes because he's a dominant player. I think it's realistic that he could drop a little bit. Teams drafting off pure need, and he did play. He has a lot of upside because Houston didn't really use him a lot. They kind of moved him around, played him at nose at times. So I guess teams really don't know if he actually can play what he should play at the next level. But I think he doesn't get by this point with all the upside and the Packers having 2 picks. I think he plays defensive end in the 3-4 for the Packers. I like him there. If he went to a 4-3 team, D-Tackle could play 3 technique for a 4-3 team. But yeah, I don't think it's by this point that defensive line would be pretty stacked with Mike Daniels, Kenny Clark, and Ed Oliver. So not really the biggest need, but they definitely could use another guy there, and he would start, obviously, whoever they got. If it was early in the draft. So dominant D-line, too good to pass.
Yeah, and I have them taking another defensive lineman as well, Rashan Gary. I mean, some people, like I was saying, like you could see him go to the Giants at 6, or you could see him fall into the 20s. Like you don't really know where Rashan Gary's going to go, like what they value, because his stats, his production wasn't that great in college, but he's just a freak athletically. And like you could see like on tape, like he has some special skills, but like he's still not there all the way there with technique wise. So I think the Packers just take him and like try to bolster that D line. Like they already have Mike Daniels. They picked up 2 edge rushers in free agency. So like why not add another defensive end in there in the mix and make that like boost that pass rush, because that's what kind of teams are looking for now is good quarterback play, good offensive line, and good pass rush. So.
Yeah, I would like Gary at the defensive end, even in 3-4. But I'm afraid if a 3-4 team gets him, like in the back of my mind, could they really put him an outside linebacker? Because some people view him as just a pure edge rusher. I do not see him playing outside linebacker. I think he can be. That's why what makes him special, though. He can be 3 different things here. He can be a, like you said, 3-4 end for the Packers or a 3-4 team. He can be a 4-3 defensive end, or he can be a 4-3-3 technique defensive tackle as well. So that's why he's special. Yeah, I know people get mad about whenever I mock Gary to somebody because they go and instantly look at his stats and they're not there. He missed some games because of injury. That's a little bit of a concern. But when he did play, he got the pressure. He just needs to finish with the sacks. And I've actually seen 3 guys blocking him. Like, I'm not even lying. I've actually seen that. It was not a consistent thing. He was double teamed a lot, but I've actually seen 3 guys blocking him, 2 offensive linemen, 1 tight end. So it's a little ridiculous. Teams feared him. So he can play even though he doesn't have the production. I'm curious to see what he lines up at the next level. All right, we're on to our next 4 picks.
Someone wanted Hawkinson to the Patriots. Well, he's already gone for me.
He's still on the board for me. And he's still on the board. Jeez. Like I said, he can go 7, but I was kind of feeling something here. I kind of explained it. I'll explain it again. And then there's Rashan Gary again. I got him going to the Dolphins. I don't think Brian Flores would be able to pass him at this point. I think he plays 4-3 defensive end for the Dolphins, but he could slide into defense tackle if they need him to. But yeah, he has the talent. He needs maybe a little bit of time. Maybe he's not going to get a bunch of sacks in year 1, but that's okay. And the Dolphins need a quarterback, obviously. We got 3 off the board, but they need D ends and D tackles. You get a guy that can play both right here, and he's going to get you pressure. Again, I just don't know. There's other guys that could be worthy of the pick too. I just don't know. I think maybe too good to pass on the Dolphins board at the time, So that's what I got. And then you got him going with a D lineman as well.
Yeah, I got him getting Christian Wilkins. I think he's kind of slept on by like other analysts and like people who are doing mock drafts, like having him go like falling into like the late.
I think it's the 24 years old thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's just one of the best interior defensive linemen in the draft. And I think the Dolphins, I think Flores being there is gonna, like you said, is gonna want to look for his own guys put together his own defense, and I think their defense isn't that bad. They just need a few pieces, and I think he's one of the pieces that they kind of need, and he's going to help them a lot. And I think that's kind of where, I don't know, I think out of the players left, I think he's probably going to be the top guy on their board defensive wise.
Yeah, I would agree with that pick too. I was kind of thinking between Rashan Gary and Christian Wilkins, and actually with this next pick, I was deciding between Christian Wilkins and Brian Burns, and so we both had those with the Falcons. So we're on the same page, even though we got different picks here. We got the same pick next, but Christian Wilkins at this point, they definitely need another defensive tackle. The Falcons, that is, next to Grady Jarrett. So and Christian Wilkins can stop the run, he can get after the quarterback. A guy they would like. I was thinking about Brian Burns too, because they could use a pass rusher of the future, and I think a guy that can play outside linebacker or defensive ends kind of fits the Dan Quinn profile there. So, but I went with Christian Wilkins here.
Yeah, I went with Brian Burns. I think Falcons they need someone on the edge like that. They try to move Vic Beasley off the ball. I don't think he's like that great off the ball, so I think he kind of go back to where he was playing, and I think they could move Burns in there. And also same with, I mean, what do they have Tack McKinley playing?
The end.
Yeah. So,
but he can come off the ball too. That's the kind of guys they like. Yeah. That's the hybrid guys.
Yeah. I mean, Vic Beasley's kind of disappointing after what he did. Was that 2 years ago? He kind of went off with the sack. So I think they're just kind of looking for another edge rusher in there. Brian Burns. And again, like I said, I think edge rushers, there's elite group, and it kind of drops off. I think Brian Burns is kind of like the end of that elite group there. So I think the Falcons just kind of have to take him there.
Okay. And then we got the same here. I was kind of surprised by having the same.
I think the Redskins fans are mad about this one.
They don't like it?
I don't know. Who do the Redskins fans want at this pick?
I mean, I would think it'd be a receiver. I guess they could.
They want Greedy. They want Greedy Williams.
Maybe a little early for Greedy, but it's definitely possible. I just think I was thinking, okay, so what's coming out now, do we believe it or not, is that maybe very little receivers can go in the first round, and Marquise Brown should be the one that's guaranteed. So really what came to mind here is Marquise Brown. Like, should that be the pick? But after thinking about it, I see them liking DK Metcalf more, that freakish guy, that big of a receiver that runs that fast, like, and is that good? I know he missed games because of injury. I know he doesn't really run inside the numbers a lot, but you can see he's capable of it. I just think that's the Redskins type of guy. They like Josh Doxson, and this is a much better version of Josh Doxson. They definitely need a receiver. I think Case Keenum he can play. He needs receivers, though. But maybe they could be looking for the quarterback of the future here. It's a possibility. Maybe they try to trade for Josh Rosen. Maybe they take Daniel Jones here. But I just think DK Metcalf's their guy. It could be Metcalf. It could be Marquise Brown. I think Metcalf's more of their guy. It could be N'Keal Harry. It could be A.J. Brown. It could be a different position. It really could be. The offensive line, I think, is good, but it keeps getting beat up, so then it's not good, and that's how Alex Smith gets hurt. And they really need receivers, but they got to be careful with the offensive line. Lost Preston Smith, so could they? They've had pretty good depth, though. I think they got guys to step up. Ryan Anderson. They need defensive depth, but they might be okay with starting wise on defense. That's my opinion. I don't know, but you can't be afraid to get better. But I think they do get better with DK Metcalf.
Yeah, I was kind of looking at it, and I was like trying to think what they could do. Like you already said, I think they could be one of the teams that trades up for a quarterback, or they could trade for Rosen. They did lose Preston Smith, so like I said, those outside linebackers and those edge rushers are going to be pretty valuable in the draft, so I think that's why they're going to kind of fly off the board early. So they could take, you have Brian Burns still there, so they could take Brian Burns, they could take Cleveland Farrell if they want, to take Preston Smith's spot, to go opposite of Kerrigan. But yeah, I kind of went with DK Metcalf here. I think he's just a freak athlete. People are commenting he can't run routes. He can run routes.
He can definitely run routes.
He's just not the best.
He just really wasn't asked to run a bunch of different ones.
And he kind of just did what he was supposed to do in the offense. Offense are designed like that. Like A.J. Brown was the guy who was supposed to go in the slot and run all those fancy routes, those quick routes. But Metcalf was supposed to be on the outside, kind of running those post routes, those streak routes. I've seen him run dig routes across the field. That's what you want from an outside receiver. not really anything.
Just think about Julio Jones too. Just like
He's a really good runner.
No, yeah, I know, but when he was in Alabama, it seemed like he stuck to the sideline a lot. And same build, same speed. But he's definitely, we saw a little more of him in the slot. Well, now you do, but then it really wasn't like we knew Julio Jones was really good then, but we wouldn't think he would be where he was. And Metcalf is similar body type too, so we both got that there. So I guess it's happening for sure. No, I'm kidding, but it's kind of weird that we have it. And we have some weird similar ones coming. But I went Brian Burns 16th to the Panthers. It's very important to protect Cam Newton, and I think that might be option A for them. But I don't know if they can. I don't want to say reach because I like Cody Ford, I like Andre Dillard, I like Garrett Bradbury. I like them. Would they be worthy of the pick? Maybe a couple picks early, so I guess that's not a reach at all. But at the same time, can you pass on Brian Burns? Brian Burns is a top 10 player to me. People say he's look at Sharky Boy. He's got his membership badge there. He's got
showing it off.
Yeah. The longer you're a member of the Goat House, I'll post the link again. I've done it a million times there. In the chat I post a link. So the longer you're a member, you get different badges and emojis too. So that's pretty cool. That's the first day we went live for us. So. Appreciate that. But anyways, Brian Burns, excellent pass rusher, can stop the run, can get after the quarterback. Elite pass rush moves, really. Seen him spin inside, outside. His handwork's good. The more I'm talking about him, the more and more I'm liking him, and I already know. I pretty much already watched everything. It just really is the underweight, undersized, and I'm not a big fan of a guy who's too undersized to play. So, and again, I think we're past that in today's NFL. We'll see. In the NFL draft with Kyler Murray, with guys like Devin Bush, Brian Burns, it's going to be very interesting. But Panthers have been missing pass rush for a while, and that's kind of what they're missing to get that next step, even when they're like really good right there. So I think they do it here. If somehow Jonah Williams is on the board, Jawaan Taylor, they're running to the podium. They're running to the podium with those guys, no doubts.
Yeah, I went with Andre Dillard here. They need to protect Cam. He was taking a beating. So keeping him upright's got to be priority one for them. I was kind of impressed with Dillard. I saw a stat the other day. He's like taking the most snaps going into pass pro out of any of the tackles in the draft by a long shot too. And he graded. I know Pro Football Focus isn't like the best thing to do, and like the best thing to follow. But like he had a really good pass blocking grade as well, and like he's going against some pretty high-level competition. I know, like, people make fun of the Pac-12, but still good competition. Like, there's some good players there. So, like, he did a really, really...
Oh, and not only does he get a membership, Sharky Boy 200 donated $2 through Super Chat. I clap it up.
There we go.
Really appreciate you. You're coming through today. That's big time.
Yeah, so I like Andre Dillard for the Panthers.
All right. I got some surprises coming, probably.
There's my team.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
All right, we'll get to them. Everyone relax. My fellow Vikings fans need to relax, okay?
Oh, I didn't even see that. Wow.
I'll get there, all right?
What the heck?
Offensive lineman Cody Ford to the Giants at 17. So
this is really wild,
and
man.
You're going to piss people off with your Giants pick. So
I know.
we got quite the page up right now. We got quite the graphic up right now. Cody Ford, Oklahoma, offensive lineman. Why? I had them taking Dwayne Haskins with the other pick. They got their quarterback. They need to protect him with the right side of the line. Cody Ford is a right tackle. If not, he's a right guard, and he's a very good one. Very quick feet. Knows how to contain. That's today's tackle too. The zone scheme's taken over, and Cody Ford worthy of the pick, and it makes so much sense. They can afford to go Dwayne Haskins with the first pick, and then they can grab the guy to protect him here. I would like to, even though I'm not super high on Haskins, I'm not that high, and would I pick him that early? Probably not, but he is a quarterback, so that brings up a debate. I would like this very much, and that's what I'm predicting to happen right at this moment. I think it's realistic, and you're about to make people really mad with
all right, don't get mad. Don't get mad at me. Get mad at Gettleman. All right, it's just what I think he's gonna do. It's not me. I wouldn't take Daniel Jones. I don't think he's a first round pick. I agree with people who are saying already.
I don't have him in the first round, but you're welcome.
Yeah, I mean, you see all the time, like, people, like,
which he definitely could go in the first
round. For quarterbacks, like, you're hearing he's going to go first round. Like, people are saying, like, it's guaranteed he's going to go first. It could be late first, too. So, like, you could see a team trade back in or, like, one of those late teams take him. But I just have the Giants taking him here. I already have him taking Montez Sweat. So I was kind of looking at Cleveland Farrell, but I was like, they already got enough.
I don't think he fits either.
I don't know. They already got enough defensive linemen there, but yeah, I don't know. I just think Gettleman is going to look for a quarterback, and I think he's just going to take Daniel Jones. Like everyone's hyping him up. He played for Cutcliffe. Cutcliffe coached Peyton Manning. Who else did he coach?
I think he coached Eli too.
Might have coached Eli too. Yeah, but yeah, it's just what I have a feeling for there. It's not really what I would do.
I could see it. I don't have him going first because just what I see, I just would think a majority of the NFL teams would see. I have a early third round grade on him. Second round pick wouldn't be bad because he is a quarterback. You got to give whatever you grade him, you got to give him a little boost because they're a quarterback. But yeah, all right. Now on to my Vikings. I know some fans may not like it. They don't have him taking an offensive line. I got him going T.J. Hawkinson from Iowa. I had him drop. He's way better than the 18th overall player, so it'll be much worth the 18th overall pick. And why don't they go offensive line? Well, there's a few reasons. You got Jawaan Taylor and Jonah Williams off the board. I do not expect, I say 0% chance Jawaan Taylor's there. I think slight chance that I think there's a chance Jonah Williams there. You haven't taken Jonah Williams. Any of those two guys are there, they're taking them. They're running to the podium. No doubt about it. They'll take Jonah Williams. I don't have him there, though. I had him going up to the Lions.
8th, I think, right?
Yeah. So why T.J. Hawkinson instead of, I still have Andre Dillard on the board. Maybe they would take Cody Ford too, but I have him off the board. Garrett Bradbury would be a good pick too. But I think Vikings fans got to be prepared for them not to take a lineman. I think they could take a lineman. There's a good chance they take one, but to me, there's multiple different reasons here. Well, T.J. Hawkinson can block, first off. He can be a big part of the run blocking game.
He's going to
play tight end, and they're going to use him. David Morgan, Rudy, they're somehow going to incorporate it. I know they have two solid tight ends already, but Hawkinson's, you can't be afraid to get better. He's, a future Pro Bowl tight end, maybe right away. But so he helps the blocking as it is. The Vikings are switching from a gap scheme to a zone blocking scheme. So right off the bat, you're taking your guys that I'm going to say are, because that's my team, our offensive linemen who we thought could be good. They were pretty solid 2 years ago, and they were playing in a hard-to-play scheme. Now they're playing in a much easier scheme. So it's realistic that guys like Riley Reef, who were supposed to be good, Pat Elflein, who's supposed to be good, those guys, Brian O'Neill was good. It's realistic that those guys could actually play well now. And it's not going to be magic. It's just because they switched schemes and they have better coaching. Kubiak won 4 Super Bowls, and he's a genius in the run blocking game. So I think they can take a lineman, but I would not be surprised if it wasn't. If T.J. Hawkinson is there, which I think is realistic because the tight ends, I think teams think with a really good defense talent up there and we can get a tight end later, they may pass on him, but he's very good. He's a total package. So I don't think he gets by pick 18. Like, I would be shocked if he got this far down. Maybe 19. Maybe he wouldn't get by 19.
Yeah.
And you got Jonah Williams.
I'm going. It's kind of weird. We have like these flopped.
Yeah.
We flip-flopped.
We did.
You had Jonah Williams going to the Lions at 8. I had Hawkinson
I didn't
going
realize
8 to the
that.
Lions. Then we flipped him here. I think Jonah Williams, I had a lot of offensive linemen sliding just because there's so much defensive talent, especially on the D-line and edge rushers. So it kind of pushed some of the offensive linemen down here, and the Vikings are in desperate need of offensive line, so I think it's perfect for them. I think they would run to the podium for this pick.
Oh, yeah.
If Jonah Williams was there, because he could play left guard. Yeah, he could play any position for them. And I know Vikings kind of have other guys that are kind of interchangeable as well, so I think it just fits in with them.
All right, now we're on to Pigskins Titans. Now we're on to his team. We're back to back.
Back to back.
Pretty interesting how that played out here.
We're better, though.
Yeah, one pick better. Look at that. All right, so I have Marquise Brown at pick 19, the Oklahoma receiver. The talk is that there's rumors that he could be the only receiver or the first receiver. I'm not buying the only receiver. I'm not buying that. But the talk is that he should be the first receiver off the board. Most teams, I know not all teams, but most teams have him as number one wide receiver. So I figured at this point, there's no way he could get by, somewhere around here because I still had him on the board at 19. Now, that would be a reason. The Titans, The Titans could use defense. They definitely can use defensive line. They can use pass rush, but they still need a receiver, I think, even though they got Adam Humphries. I don't have the comparison. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of comparisons. I think everyone's their own guy, but if I see something, I'm going to say it. But I don't love this comparison, but I can see some similarities, but everybody seems to be comparing, and apparently people around the league are comparing Marquise Brown to Deshaun Jackson. And this is not why I had him going there, but I thought it was interesting that Deshaun Jackson and Humphries were on the same team at the Bucs. So basically what I'm saying is you can make they're somewhat similar, not really the same style receiver, but they both play in a slot. They both can play outside. You can make it work. You can have two of those guys. So then you got a big three here with the receivers. Too good to pass, but then, yeah, like we were talking about, I think they could use offense because sometimes they were just struggling to score points last year, and then Marquise Brown brings a different element to their game. They can score more points, and I do like you got Dexter Williams, and I'm going to start arguing right now
Lawrence.
here. Dexter Lawrence, yeah. Did I say Williams?
Yeah.
But I'm not done. I'm not done.
Just want to go.
Dexter Lawrence. All right, you go, and then I'll argue.
All right. So people were saying, like, Mr. Cardinal said, like, Dexter Lawrence great for Jarrell. Like, that's kind of what I was thinking. And, like, he also said that finally someone has Titans taking Dexter Lawrence, like, finally a nose tackle. Because I was, like, thinking, like, John Robinson. I love John Robinson. I think he's a great GM. I think he's helped our team so much. But he's failed at getting a nose tackle for us. He tried Sylvester Williams 2 years ago. It did not work out. He tried Benny Logan last year. Did not work out. So I think with Dexter Lawrence here, like with all those edge rushers gone and Christian Wilkins gone, I think Dexter Lawrence kind of fits perfectly for what we need. But I definitely could see Marquise Brown or like someone like that. John Robinson, you never know. Like I remember 2 years ago, I was so surprised they took Corey Davis with the 5th pick. I just couldn't believe that that's what they actually did. Like we expected receivers to kind of fall a little bit further than that than 5th pick, but you could see John Robinson maybe going for another receiver to help Mariota. I think this year they're kind of all out for Mariota, trying to help him out and make sure like he's their guy, because they got to figure that out this year.
Yeah, you're never really gonna know unless he has his weapons.
Yeah,
too.
And I think Marquise Brown would fit in perfect too, because Adam Humphries could stay in the slot. That's fine. Corey Davis is your X receiver. He's gonna run a lot of stuff on the route tree and play kind of like his single side. And then the Z receivers, Jawaan Taylor, he's a speedster. Like that's kind of their offense that they have. They kind of have that guy that kind of opens the field up for everyone else. And Marquise Brown is exactly that. Like he's the speedster that'll open up. He'll run that deep route. He could play in the slot too. You can move him around too. But I think he kind of fits what they need as that Z receiver. So I can see like what you're going with there. And I also like a lot of Titans fans like it too. They like Bradbury at that 19th pick for them, and I could see that one. I could see John Robinson liking him a lot too, and like he could play center and they can move Ben Jones to guard, or he could play guard and keep Ben Jones at center. So like that's the good thing about Bradbury. So I could see like any of those three going there.
All right, so now it's my turn to go back to Dexter Lawrence.
Yeah.
I think they can take Dexter Lawrence, and I think it would be a good pick. But what I was thinking is, well, on top of them needing to score more points, needing more power in offense. So let me ask you this. What did they do very well on defense last year, and what did they need to improve on defense last year the most?
What was the question? I was reading comments here.
The Titans on defense. What was their best thing? They stopped the run at a high level.
Well, not as good as in the past, but yeah, they've been good at it for a couple of years.
And they couldn't really get the sacks. So
Yeah.
I think they're looking for the pass rusher on defense right away.
I think Dexter Lawrence puts the pressure in the middle.
Yeah.
Him and Jarrell Casey.
I would like Dexter Lawrence as the pick, and I think it's realistic, but I think they're really mainly look on defense for pass rush, and Cleveland Farrell we have on the board still. He doesn't fit, and the better guys that fit are gone at this point, so I think they look to bring another element to the offense, but I think they can go Dexter Lawrence. I think they definitely can go Dexter Lawrence still.
Someone said, where was it? Titans are low-key stacked this year. I love it. They people are sleeping on them. They're sleeping. Watch out.
We both have corners at pick 20, but different corners.
I got my number one corner.
And I got my number one corner. I got Greedy Williams. He's my number one corner, but that's not why I have him going here because it's predict a pick. It's not really based off how I grade, but I think he'd be the majority of the league's number one corner. You know, he has the size, the athleticism, the playmaking ability. Like I mentioned, his technique it's not terrible, but it needs to be, you know, it definitely needs some work. So, but he's was able to do what he did while having an interesting technique. I found when watching his film, I played corner myself, so I guess it's a little easier. But I found myself, I knew what kind of coverage he was in by the way he lined up, sometimes by like a second after the ball was snapped. It was very strange. I knew what coverage he was in just by the way he was lined up. So I didn't like that. That kind of goes along with the technique needs some work, but easily could be fixed. This is stuff that can be fixed. It's not like it's programmed into his brain. I don't think so. So, and like I said, he has the playmaking ability, the athleticism, and the size. And do you want me to tell you why Byron Murphy, I don't think he'll go first? Or do you want to go first?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think Byron Murphy, because he's a little undersized, you could say. You know, I think some teams will view him as more of a slot guy, which that's a very important position. But since he's undersized, you expect him to be like crazy athletic, crazy fast. He's quick, he's athletic, but he's nowhere near like Greedy Williams. So I think you expect these types of guys for you to draft him high. Most teams, that is. So I'm not ruling out he can go here, be the first corner. But I think most teams would like him to be, if he doesn't have the size, to be a little more. I guess it's really the 40 time, which shouldn't matter that much. Well, for corners it is. I guess you look at the past, guys that ran below 4.5s have definitely been the more successful ones, especially in today's quick offenses. So I think that'll scare some teams, not all of them, but he does have the best technique right now out of all the corners. I don't argue that. So you go ahead.
First, I actually want to go back a little bit because the comments are coming in kind of late, but someone said that
Denzel Ward was on another level, though, and way more athletic.
Yeah. Comments, more Titan stuff. Can't let the Titan stuff go. Someone said Mariota has Delaney Walker, Corey Davis, Adam Humphries, Dan Lewis. Those are good weapons. But like last year, Delaney Walker was hurt. They didn't have Humphries last year. And LaFleur didn't know how to use the running backs properly. So hopefully Dan Lewis finds a better role. But yeah, we have those guys coming back. And then someone else said they've been sleeping on the Titans. They're 9-7 3 years in a row. Anyways, Byron Murphy, yeah, he's my number one corner. Just like I just like how he plays. Like he plays with a lot of passion, even for like his size. I mean, I think he's athletic. I mean, I think he's fast enough and athletic enough to keep up with receivers in the NFL. I don't think that's a problem. But yeah, no, I just think the Steelers in the past too, like cornerback wise, I feel like they've taken like some smaller size guys anyways. So I don't think that kind of matters for them. I think they're just looking for guys who play with good technique that fit their defense. But yeah, that's why I kind of went with Byron Murphy here. And yeah, there's some. I mean, they still have Joe Hayden. I don't know if he's gone or not.
He's got one more year.
Yeah, like they're very similar built. I don't know if you want like two guys like that, but I just think it's just they're not opposed to the size part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody asked about Jawaan Williams. My thoughts. Yeah, I like Jawaan Williams. I think he'd be a solid second-round pick. Has the size. I think he's very good in zone, just not sure about man. That's what other teams are concerned about. All right, next four picks. Right off the top, we have an interesting one that's the same because I haven't really seen too many mocks with this, and we both have the same. We both have Clelin Ferrell from Clemson to the Seahawks at pick 21. The reason I had it, I still had him on the board. He's much better than the 21st overall player. The Seahawks only, they have Frank Clark, and he's still on the franchise tag. So as of now, unless they can predict the future, they only have him for one more year. And opposite of that, they drafted Rasheem Green last year, who I thought was more of a 3-4 end, but he definitely can play the 4-3 end. But that's really all you got. So, and then you did bring Marsh back, but he's more of a step off the ball type of guy. But Clelin Ferrell is that true defensive end. I think he's good. He's good opposite of Frank Clark, and he can, if it comes down to it, I know the Seahawks fans definitely want to keep Frank Clark, and they should. But if it comes down to it, he definitely can be a replacement. He plays at a high level. He's a big reason why Clemson was very good. He's not flashy athletic. He played very good against top linemen like Jonah Williams. His hand usage is good. He's strong as hell. He's smart too. He knows where the ball is going. He can stop the run. So excellent pick here, down at 21. But I do understand that there's some pass rushers that just stand out a little more. But we have them going way higher in this. So just too good to pass. And I think maybe not the biggest need, but it's up there.
Yeah, I just thought best player available. like some people have the Titans taking Farrell, but like I don't think he fits their defense well. Like unless they're like gonna switch things up. But like I just thought he's gonna kind of slide just because all the other pass rushers are a little bit better than him. Like a little bit more. People are looking for like those athletic freaks. He's not like.
Oh, there we go. Clap it up for Huffer 6. Huffer?
He's not like.
I'm probably saying it wrong. He said, thank you for all your content. I can't get enough of it. Keep it up, guys. And I like the Noah Fant pick for the Raiders. Really appreciate you very much.
You.
I love doing this content. Constantly working on it. Love the draft. I love hearing that. Really appreciate you for that donation. Thank you.
Back to Farrell. Yeah, he's not as athletic as like Burns and Sweat and those type of guys, but like just a solid player. I mean, the whole Clemson defensive line was very, very good, and I think he's just too good to pass here. And like you said, they could use someone opposite of Frank Clark, and Frank Clark is playing on the franchise tag. So, and you see like the Seahawks are kind of like last year. We didn't know what they were doing. They're kind of like rebuilding almost, but like they could continue to. I mean, they still made the playoffs, but they could continue to kind of go through like that kind of long-term process. Even if they lose Frank Clark, they have Farrell they could bank on for years in the future. So,
kind of add on to you. You kind of got to it a little bit, but why the other pass rushers won't fall and Farrell could? Like those other pass rushers we talked about, we said Montez Sweat. We like him.
Both.
He can play. Yeah, they can all play both. Cleveland Farrell is strictly a 4-3 in my opinion, but somewhat a similar body type, not quite as athletic, to Bradley Chubb, who I thought would only be a 4-3 end last year, and he stepped back, just did fine with the Broncos. So you never know. But we both agree that he could fit the Seahawks, and they wouldn't pass him at this point. Next up, we got two different picks.
If you're a Ravens fan, you got to just love both of these picks.
Yeah. So I got N'Keal Harry, my number one wide receiver.
Yeah.
My receiver rankings are coming out tomorrow. I did quarterbacks and running backs, my receiver rankings. I love this receiver class, in depth, and I already gave away Harry's my number one receiver. But I got him at 22. There's teams that are I'm not buying at one receivers going in the first round. I'm just not buying it. These guys are too good. N'Keal Harry is a complete receiver. He's not flashy speed, but he's fast enough.
So far.
And the Ravens, I mean, it's obvious they're desperate for a receiver. N'Keal Harry can do it all. It'd be fun to watch him and Lamar Jackson. I would love this pick. I think it's realistic. Maybe they would take Brown instead if he was there, but he's off the board. Yeah. I would
have him taking Marquise Brown if Devin Bush wasn't here, but I just have Devin Bush falling this far. He could. I mean, yeah. I was thinking about putting him with the Bengals at 11 where you had him, but Haskins was there, so I had to put Haskins with them at that 11th pick. So Devin Bush kind of falls here. I mean, other teams could have used a middle linebacker, but like I just felt like they had bigger needs and better players around the board, but. Not to say Devin Bush is not a good player. He's definitely a great player in the draft. He might be. Some teams might view him as a little undersized, but.
Oh, look at that! There's Sharky Boy 200 again. Yeah. He's having a day. $5.
Having a day.
Have a day. Really appreciate you. What a guy.
Oh man.
What a Shark Boy.
Yeah, just couldn't pass on Devin Bush. It'd be like this is a grade. That's a grade A mock. That's a grade A draft right there.
We should have mocked Shark Boy in here. We should have mocked him.
Grade A draft for the Ravens right there.
Yeah.
Either pick.
All right, and now we both went Lyman, and
you had Cody Ford going, I think. I had Dillard.
Yeah, we have the opposite gone already. So. Yeah. Texans need a line.
Yeah.
Andre Dillard. I do like Cody Ford better for them, but I have Cody Ford gone. I had him going to the Giants. I do like him a little better, but Andre Dillard can play right away. They need line. I saw today that they're bringing in A.J. Brown for a visit, and, they went out and traded for Demaryius Thomas, so they're serious about getting a big-time receiver, so maybe that's a wild card here. Could they take A.J. Brown?
Still sitting there?
He's visiting the Patriots.
Oh, my God.
Another one. Gus Gair. $3.99. Wow. Really appreciate it. Guys, your content is always fun to watch. Thank you. Well, thank you. Appreciate it. Love doing this. Really appreciate all the donations today. Love you guys. So, yeah, Dillard, Texans. I think it's got to be the pick at this point. But, yeah, the corner and receiver would be the wild cards. Could definitely be corner.
Yeah, I could see him taking a corner as well. But, yeah, we already talked about it, really. Texans need offensive line help. Cody Ford could play multiple positions. I think he could play right tackle. He could play guard. So, like, whatever. I don't know what the Texans have going on with the offensive line, but wherever they need to put him, he could fit in kind of any of those spots.
Okay, now I have Byron Murphy coming off the board here. Was a tough call between Murphy and DeAndre Baker, and interesting situation with DeAndre Baker coming up, maybe or maybe not, because we'll get to that. But Byron Murphy,
What happened?
I think, I think Murphy, even though I explained some teams may not like him because he's undersized and he doesn't have like crazy speed like Denzel Ward did last year. But then some teams will like him because his technique is there, and then the Raiders do need a corner. I think the Raiders may rather have Greedy Williams, but Byron Murphy here at this pick, I think they would do it. And you went with Noah Fant.
Yeah, a lot of teams are high on Noah Fant. Some teams aren't. I keep saying about prospects. I mean, we don't really know, but some people are hyping him up. I think he's definitely a round one tight end, and like this is at the end of round one. So I think the Raiders lost Jared Cook too, so they're gonna need someone to kind of fill that void. They did pick up a lot of good weapons for receivers, but yeah, they could use someone in the middle of the field to give Derek Carr kind of some easy throws, or they could just have a different quarterback. We don't know what Mayock's thinking over there. He's saying I saw something today that he said. Derek Carr is their quarterback, but like they're still looking if they could get someone better. Said something like that, so I was like,
He's just playing games,
yeah,
or is he?
I don't know, but yeah, Noah Fant would be, I think, a great pick for the Raiders here to fill that Jared Cook void.
All right, next 4. There we go. I got the Eagles at pick 25. We got all different ones. I like that.
Oh.
At pick 25, I got the Eagles taking Dalton Risner, Kansas State. Offensive lineman, he can play tackle at a high level, but teams do like his ability to possibly slide in the guard. So, yeah, the Eagles definitely need help, mainly on the left side of the line. So I think he could be left guard right away and then possibly slide out to tackle in the future, which they're kind of aging on the line. So Wentz has his injuries. They got to keep him protected. I think maybe a bigger need at linebacker, but there's no linebacker worth this pick here at pick 25. They can wait for that. In turn, you have them going corner. In terms of corner, I think they have a long list of corners on their team, but they don't have that legit number one guy. So it's go big or go home at corner, in my opinion. But like I said, very important to protect Wentz because he's been hurt, and Risner's definitely worthy of the pick. Nasty blocker. He's mean.
Yeah, I went with Greedy here. I thought the Eagles struggled. Their secondary struggled. I know they had a lot of injuries, but I mean, you can't just bank on people being healthy this year. And I mean, Greedy Williams, not my number one corner, but a lot of people's number one corner. And him just being here at 25, I think that just makes sense for the Eagles. They don't have like too many holes on their team. Offensive line, yeah, they could use maybe some offensive linemen, but I think they're. What is Risner going to play guard then for them?
I'd say
because they got Peters and Lane Johnson.
Yeah, I mean Peters has been hurt every year.
Yeah,
I mean that's the good thing about him.
True.
But they could definitely use another left guard too, starting. So I think in this case, if Peters is good to go day one, I think Risner would play left guard right away, possibly slide over to left tackle. The right side's good with Lane Johnson over there. So
yeah, but I just think they need a true number one corner over there, and
makes sense.
Yeah, I'm put Greedy with the Eagles there.
The Colts, have been mocking the Colts, either a receiver or corner, something a little bit different, but that's not the reason I did it, but it just happens to be something a little different. I think they'll like Jerry Tillery. I think they have quite a few guys that can play interior D-line, but they don't really have that guy that's like a sure thing. You know what you're going to get. Got a couple guys last year that kind of played better than what we expected, so what are we going to get this year, you know? Tillery can get after the quarterback at a high level, and then he can stop the run, obviously, so... Tillery is, I think, the ultimate guy where teams are going to be split on. Like, I can see, like, if he went top 15, we'll say, it wouldn't really shock me. But if he went early second round, it wouldn't really shock me. So he's kind of that guy. But the fact that he brings that pass rush ability to his game is just, you know, what I think makes him a first round pick. So I think the Colts will like him. Yeah, you know, all the talk. I like having him going with a receiver, but 3 off the board and all that talk that maybe not as many receivers as we thought were going to go kind of scared me away from that, and I do like Tillery as the fit.
Yeah, I would hate it if the Colts got N'Keal Harry so much.
Because you're a Titans fan, just to make it that clear.
Yeah, I would just hate it. I think he's the best receiver in the draft, and I think he would kind of be the perfect pair for him and T.Y. Hilton are kind of I mean, they have similarities, but I think they're kind of opposites as far as like just body type and type of receiver. I mean, they're both good after the catch. They both can make contested catches. They're both good receivers, but I think just size-wise, they're good complements. And the Colts, I think, need another guy for Andrew Luck. Like they had some guys that are not well known on their team that they were definitely playing well. They were making plays for them, but I mean, sometimes they'll have some drops, or they'll have someone who can't get open. Like you saw, the Colts really struggled against the Chiefs in the playoffs. You know, the Chiefs defense isn't that good. They struggled, like Andrew Luck struggled finding anyone open really.
There were some drops too.
Yeah, there were drops too.
So
I think that'd be the kind of the perfect pick for them at 26.
Yeah, when we're live during the draft, I kind of just give an analysis on the picks when they happen, and if that happened, then I'd be clapping it up for the Colts. I think Harry would be an excellent pick. I had him off the board though. You had the Raiders taking Noah Fant, and I have them taking Noah Fant with this pick. Just different picks here.
Picks after.
Yeah, I think some people were starting to talk about he can go like top 15, and I think that kind of cooled down a little bit after the combine. You know, I think him being not really a complete tight end, like he can block. You know, I guess we really don't know too because they use Hawkinson for that. They're always both on the field. So can he be an every down tight end? He did have some drops, but he's a freak athlete, and he can catch the ball in big situations. So I think he's more down here possibly. Could go earlier, could go in the teens, but I like him here for the Raiders. That's definitely got to be the pick if he's here.
Yeah, I want Josh Jacobs.
You want a running back?
Running back off the board, yeah. I think he's clear cut the best running back in the draft. And the Raiders desperately need a running back. And I don't know who's really calling the shots, so for sure with the Raiders over there, but I think either if it's Mayock or Gruden, I think they would both love to kind of have Josh Jacobs as their pick here and on their team. Like you just see how he plays, like he'll run you over, he could be elusive as well and make some moves around people too. So I think they would just kind of like to have that part of their offense. And like I already have them taking Noah Fant too, so like they're kind of putting together a full offense. They picked up good receivers in the offseason. Now they draft a tight end and a running back. Now they got a kind of complete offense over there.
Yeah, I don't have Josh Jacobs going in the first round, but I can see it. But I also see teams just not really valuing the running back position, just kind of just waiting because there's pretty good depth early day 3 maybe, so maybe waiting for that. A little lower risk there, but I can see it either way. Raiders definitely could use a running back. The Chargers, I went with defensive tackle Dexter Lawrence from Clemson. If he's there, I see this as the pick. They definitely need another defensive tackle. That's really all they need, in my opinion. I guess they can use another offensive lineman, another linebacker, but to be a complete team, they need a defensive tackle. They can make way with what they got over there. But, Dexter Lawrence, definitely what they're looking for. They could I like Jerry Tillery for them because he brings that pass rush ability to it. Dexter Lawrence may not bring. He could. But I have Jerry Tillery gone. Dexter Lawrence, run stopper. It's what they like. It's what they need. That's what I got. And it's a good pick here too, obviously.
No, Jeffrey Simmons. I saw people already commenting when we pulled up the screen, if he was is he worthy of a first round pick? But I think the Chargers can afford to do it. I think he's a great player. I think he was a top 10,
maybe even top 5.
He's a top 10 lock for the draft. And ACLs aren't the same as they used to be. I know it's still a serious injury, but he could definitely recover from it. And you saw, he never got hurt. He never missed a game in his career. It's just kind of a freak thing that happened in the offseason. So I'm not really worried about him being injury prone or anything like that. But yeah, you have a D tackle going there. I have a D tackle going there. I already have Lawrence going. I didn't have Tillery going. I could see Tillery being the pick here as well if Chargers want someone that could play right away for them. But I think they kind of take a gamble. I mean, the Chargers, not it's by their choice, but they've had guys on their team that they were willing to wait to see how they recover. Like Joey Bosa was hurt, had to wait for him to recover. They played well without him anyways. Hunter Henry too was hurt. They played without them. They played without him. They played well without him. So I think they can afford. They're a good team. They don't really have that many holes. So I think they can afford to take someone like this, and it's definitely high reward if he pans out. If he's perfectly fine, just plays how he's supposed to play, it's going to be a huge boost to their team.
Okay. Sharky, our guy Sharky boys, waiting for the Chiefs. Hopefully he's not disappointed because we both have the same pick.
Oh, man.
But it's a very good pick.
Yeah, it's a great pick.
It's a very good
I would
pick.
take him on the Titans.
And it's next. We both have Garrett Bradbury going to the Chiefs. In my mind, I'm making a mock draft. I didn't make it yet, but I'm making a mock draft. Garrett Bradbury is not going to be there at pick 29. It happened that he was there at pick 29, and they lost Mitch Morse at center. Bradbury is going to be a center, a damn good center for a long time here. So they get that guy. He also could play guard at a very high level too. So this would be a great pick at pick 29. I know they need a corner. DeAndre Baker's still there, and that was the interesting thing I was talking about DeAndre Baker. We both have him going second round. We're only doing one round here, but it could be Baker. It's just I don't know if a bunch of teams really have corner on their high to. I guess the Chiefs do, but I think he can fall out because they'd rather have other positions here. But Bradbury, I think a need and too good to pass at this point. They know that they're an offensive team. The Chiefs know they're an offensive team, so they got to make sure. They have to be damn sure they're going to score all those points. Like they got to keep their MVP quarterback protected and make sure everything's right with him. They got to make sure they're scoring all their points the best they can be. It's an offensive league today in the NFL. They're an offensive team. They know they're not going to win with defense no matter who they take. If they get the best defensive player in this draft, they know they're winning with offense. So make sure it's ready to go, and this is what they need here.
Yeah. They lost Mitch Morse. I think he fits in. Bradbury's going to play. He's going to be a starter for a very long time in the league. Like the way he plays. And kind of like you said, you would think they're going to go all out defense, and like they definitely need to rebuild the defense. It wasn't the greatest as it was, but they're switching up their scheme as well. But it's not just going to happen. Their defense is not going to get fixed in one draft, and I think the way they're going to compete is by scoring points, and they need a center, a new center, since they lost theirs, and I think that's kind of what. Just based on he's still there too, he could easily go in the teens. The Vikings could take him, the Titans could take him, but since he's just here, I think it just fits what they need there.
Sharky boys got to go. Appreciate you. I'll see ya. Appreciate the memberships and the donations. Hopefully, you liked your Chiefs pick.
Hopefully.
Packers, we actually both have. They have two picks, and we both gave them a receiver
Browns.
At this pick, and they're both Browns, but they're different Browns. I had A.J. Brown again. There's rumors that there could be one or two receivers going in the first round. I'm not buying it. I still had 4 going. It's just really hard not to put these guys in here. A.J. Brown can play in the slot, can play outside. Very, very dangerous after the catch. Can run routes, can get open. It's type of receiver that would be dominant on the Packers, especially down here at pick 30. It'd be a great pick. So I think just too good to pass. Really, what it is, they could use. They could. I didn't have them taking a lineman. I think they definitely can use another lineman. They could use an inside linebacker, another outside linebacker, even though they signed 2 in free agency. So another safety with Amos. So they definitely can use some other things. And it's not necessarily, I'm not saying that the receiver is the next thing they need the most. It's just too good to pass here, and it can make that offense that much more dominant. Their defense could be good, but like I explained with the Chiefs, like the Packers, if they're going to win it all, it's going to be through Rodgers and that offense. Let's make it better with a guy like Brown who can do multiple different things. I'd be scared to play against him. That's that type of guy.
Yeah, and I am getting Marquise Brown. I think that you already had him. You have him going to the Titans, so have him falling to 30. Like the injury could. We don't know really. The injury could put him down.
Apparently he's checking out okay.
Yeah, and like I was talking about, Corey Davis didn't do any. He had an ankle.
The Rams pick is not a depth pick. We'll get to it though.
Corey Davis didn't participate in the combine. Didn't have a pro day. Like he had an ankle injury that he was. Trying to get better, and that didn't hurt him at all. He went 5th pick, so Marquise Brown could easily go in the teens. He could fall 2nd round. We don't know, but I think it would just be too good to pass for the Packers here. I already had him addressing the defense with their first pick. Now I have him getting offense with this pick. And I mean, either A.J. Brown or Marquise Brown could be perfect for him. I'm taking like Randall Cobb's spot, and they're both projected to be almost probably better than Randall Cobb. You know, Randall Cobb had he's had a pretty good career so far. It definitely could be a kind of a nice security blanket for Rodgers this year. And I know LaFleur coming from the Rams likes to run a lot of 3 wide receiver sets. So he's gonna need they're gonna need more receivers, even though like some Packers fans might not like it. They definitely need some more weapons out there.
Yeah. Next pick is the Rams at pick 31. I got a little bit of a surprise, somewhat of a surprise here. I have Caleb McGarry from Washington. There's rumors that I don't have him as a first round guy. I think early second round guys more like it, but we're pretty much there at pick 31 here. But there's rumors that he is definitely in the conversation in the first round, and that he can play tackle or guard, and I can see that. And I also have the other top linemen gone by here. The ones that are definitely better than McGarry, I have them gone at this point. You still have Reisner on the board and have him go there. But McGarry, I think he starts right away. I think they could definitely use another guard, and Whitworth doesn't have long. And maybe it's a depth for tackle, but he can slide into guard. He can play guard. They lost Saffold. I think it's not a pick that I would be in love with, but again, this is the predict the pick, and from what I'm hearing, this is very realistic, especially if the other very good linemen are gone by this point, and I think they will be. But you still have one more before McGarry left, and that's Dalton Reisner, and that's who you gave him.
Yeah, I think he could fit in for Saffold. He's kind of like a similar player, like a nasty blocker, like go downfield and will just find guys to bury. So I think that kind of fits in perfectly. The Rams definitely are like heavily reliant on their offensive line. Like that's how their run game gets going, and that sets up their play action pass, and that's what Jared Goff does best. Like if you ask Jared Goff to go and just drop back and throw a bunch of times during the game, like we saw in the Super Bowl, like they get down, like they can't really do it. So they need to establish that offensive line after losing one of their best offensive linemen. And then plus when Whitworth is going to retire, like we don't know when that is going to be, like Reisner could slide over and play tackle for them whenever he's ready to do so. So I think it's a perfect pick for them there.
Somebody asked about Chris Lindstrom. That's actually who I thought about here as McGarry or Lindstrom, but McGarry's getting more talk. It sounds like around the league that has a better chance going first round, but Lindstrom we know can play guard, so maybe that would be a safer option. And then somebody said about Jerry Tillery, I noticed, I'm kind of looking through the chat here and there. Jerry Tillery, the Colts, too inconsistent. Yeah, that's people's problem when he was inconsistent. But then where he was inconsistent was kind of later in the year where it came out he had a torn labrum, which he played through. So that could be the reason. Maybe it's not. But I like that he brings the pass rush to his game. And then pick 32, the Patriots at this point. Pretty much everybody that I really, really like for the Patriots was gone at this point. So it's a tough situation here. They could go with a receiver between Hakeem Butler, Deebo Samuel. I think they would rather wait to the second round. I think it's too early for Irv Smith. Wild card would be Jay Sternberger even. I think it's too early. It's possible. I think it's too early. So I think they take a chance on a guy that is a first-round talent, but he's hurt. So I think they're in a spot where they can take this risk, and I don't think it's that much of a risk, honestly. You kind of went over that already. We think it'd be okay, and they're going to be good this year with Simmons not playing. So I think they can afford to do this, and we'll see. It's going to be interesting to see where he goes. Is he a first-round player still now that he's hurt? But we'll see. So that's kind of what I had the Patriots going with, mainly because I think it'll be too much of a reach for some of the other guys. Could be Paris Campbell too. Forgot to mention him.
I think what if Tillery and Simmons are here for the Patriots?
You already have Simmons going.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
So
well,
I was about
doesn't
to say,
matter anyways.
Yeah, Tillery and Simmons are there. It's tough because, like I said, the Patriots could afford to wait.
Yeah.
But their window is actually closing though.
Yeah.
So they kind of need it now.
Yeah.
So it could be Tillery.
Yeah, they lost. I mean, I see people saying like Tillery's just a pass rushing defensive lineman. He's not really that good for the run, but I mean, they lost Flowers. He's not going to play the same position. Like they need some type of source of pass rush though, and it's a great way to do it. I mean, you see like the Rams got so far doing is getting that pressure from the interior and pushing the pocket back. Then that kind of helps out your edge rushers. So Patriots they lost one of their edge rushers, so they're not going to have as good of a player there. They have Michael Bennett, who actually is pretty good, but it all starts kind of like the interior defensive lineman producing that pressure up the middle to help the edge guys. So I think that's perfect for what they need. They lost Malcolm Brown. I don't know if anyone picked him up. He's free agent. Saints got him. Yeah. And I think they take him at the first round pick.
Yeah, from Texas.
Yeah. I mean, and the Patriots are always picking at the back of the.
Oh, I know all this.
I knew he's from Texas. I thought they took him at a first rounder. I just wasn't positive, but Yeah, I think they could just kind of, that's kind of what the Patriots do. Like they use a guy, and then when their contract's up, they kind of just let him go, and then they find the replacement. I think that's kind of like the replacement
And they
here.
win the Super Bowl again.
Yeah, and they're always picking at the end, and
best spot
just
to pick.
just a cycle over and over and over again.